sandwich, my free cup of tea.
Yeah.
And then the match was called off waterlogged pitch.
No.
Again, that's happened more than once recently.
Oh, it has, yeah.
That pitch is notorious for that.
Oh, it is.
I used to play there.
Yeah.
Although, when playing for school, I played on worse pitches than that at Wackley Woods.
Yeah.
Will, where are you from originally?
Down in the Cotswolds, a little village. It's near it's my Cirencester, Stroud.
Oh, yeah. Stroud, yeah. Laurie
Yeah.
Lee.
I did a race down there in the summer.
Did
That
you?
was near Cirencester, yeah.
Where was that?
I'm trying to think of the name of the place where it was.
Lovely countryside, though.
Yeah, it was, yeah. Actually, it was middle of July, and it was a triathlon race, and it got called up. The swim couldn't take place because of the fog.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I remember you saying that at the time. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Never seen anything like it.
It wasn't like South Cerney. South Cerney?
I'll have to look it up. I can't remember. Sorry.
There's loads of lakes there, which
Yeah.
to be fair, my cousin does.
There were a lot. The lakes are numbered.
Yeah.
The lakes have got numbers.
Yeah, that's it. I live literally. Well, my parents, they still live down there.
Right. Yeah.
I literally lived. If it's the right place, I literally. Yeah. Well, I walk my dogs around those lakes and stuff, so that's how close it is to where I.
Right.
was.
Okay.
Yeah. So next time, Paul, you can call into Will's parents.
Well, I might as well have done. Yeah, I could have had my breakfast there instead of swimming.
We should explain, Will. Paul's a bit of a nutter. He's
No, not a bit.
a lot of a nutter. Is it both hips you've had replaced?
That was ages ago. That's just.
He's had both hips replaced, and he does Ironmen as well as triathlons.
Wow, that's incredible. That's
He's
incredible.
our hero, really. But we don't.
is.
It's an android.
So
Hemorrhoid. Chocolate cake. Hemorrhoid.
hemorrhoid, yeah, that's more like it. So, how did you then progress? How did you become a footballer?
Well, my dad's mad.
All around the lot.
I've got an older brother who was playing, so I think he's 4 years ahead above me. So I was basically I just played with his team because I was able to, if that makes sense. Because I'm quite tall, so I was always quite tall as well. So I was probably bigger than some of them as well. So my dad, like I said, he was. I think apparently I've spoken to a few people, and he should have probably made it as a professional, but he was too much of a. He liked his home life and the pub, should I say. So he liked to play for his local team with his mates and then go down the pub. So, which fair enough, that's what he wanted. He's a happy man now. So, but I think if he probably would do it again, he probably would have, especially seeing it for the way I've had, because it is a lot of commitment. You have to dedicate a lot of stuff. You have to sacrifice a lot of stuff, even at my level. You've got to sacrifice, which he probably didn't realize at the time. So I did that, and then I played for the local team, Fairford. It was one of my dad's friends who he actually played professionally and then semi-professionally. So he played at a good level, and he had a lad same age as me. So we were quite good, to be fair. We were the best team around, sort of thing. And we had some really good players that went on to actually go into like the Swindon Academy and stuff. None of them actually made it full time or anything, but they played at a good level. So I was quite fortunate enough with that as well. But then I got scouted for Swindon when I was 6 years old. At the time, they didn't have a proper academy set up. I think the lowest age group was under 10s. So I went there as a 6-year-old boy, trying to play with these 10-year-olds. And to be fair, I said to my dad, I said, I don't like this. I said, I don't want to do this. There was a couple of older lads, and they were, I don't know whether it's obviously boys would be boys or whatever, but it sort of not bullied me, but like I don't think they liked it that there was a young lad here a couple of years below them, say, and I could play with them, if that makes sense. I could beat them, tackle them and stuff. So they probably didn't like that. But no, so luckily, but I carried on training. So I wasn't allowed to play in the games, but so I carried on playing games with my local team. And then I think it was about 18 months down the line, they actually got a proper academy set up. So, and then, so I went in full time with them. They actually had a proper structure and stuff. And so I just, played for Swindon the rest of my childhood, really. And then I obviously went all the way through. And then it come to, last year at school is when they sort of tell you whether you're going to make it get a scholarship. So it's like a 2-year apprenticeship. And you do, like, then you go full-time training, but then you've got to go college as well once a week, and do some sort of education. It was more copy and paste out of a book. So, but you're trying to get 15, 16 lads to try and study it in one class. It's it doesn't quite work. Yeah. So, but no. So I got obviously fortunate enough that I got told that I was gonna be offered one. I think there was 6 out of 15 lads, I think it was, so half, say. And then so I did a 2-year apprentice at Swindon, and then at the end of that 2 years, they sort of, obviously that's when they decide if you're going to be offered a professional contract. And unfortunately, I was one of two. A lad plays, I don't know if you've heard of him, Billy Bowden. He's at Oxford now. He was at Preston. So it was me and him went through. Obviously, he's had a pretty good career, so we went there. We got signed a 2-year professional contract, and then so done that, and then men's football was completely different. It was sort of surreal, really. My first, when I left school, I signed my first apprenticeship, the first year apprenticeship. I was actually playing with the first team in pre-season. So I was literally thinking, well, I've cracked it here. I'm playing with the first team pre-season. And then I was sort of in and around it. I was training with them. This is like my first sort of few weeks of full-time football. I was playing with these men, first team and stuff, and it was a bit surreal. And then, unfortunately for me, the manager got sacked after I think 10 games. So he was the one that liked me. And then but a new manager came in, and obviously then I went back to the youth team and just obviously did that. But I carried on playing with like the reserve team and stuff like that. So I was always in and around it, because I think, maybe because I was always quite developed as a young lad anyway. So I could handle myself in that situations as well. So, but no, it was an enjoyable time. The youth team sort of era. Obviously, you clean boots and sweep up after the first team on a match day and things like that. So it was them days have gone. I think I was sort of one of the last sort of eras to do that. But it teaches you obviously a lot of things to respect. I think that's one thing that's gone out of the game at the moment, is the lack of respect for managers and coaches and things like that. I think players get away with a bit too much, if you ask me, and stuff like that. I think it's player power is massive now.
Is that at your level as well? Not just at the top level.
Yeah, I think even at our level, there's a lot of things that go on. You think it just, even like when you hear obviously stories of like Alex Ferguson and stuff like that. Like they wouldn't have taken it back in the day. But I think I don't know if I'm old school or what, but I just think anyone in power, say your manager or something, you just respect their decision, and then you can have a conversation afterwards. But players, they argue with them, they answer back and things like that. And I would never have done that as a young lad. I wouldn't even do it now as a 30-year-old bloke who's played the game for X amount of years. I still, if a manager tells me to do it, I'll do it. And then if I disagree with it, and maybe I'll have a conversation later on down the line, 1v1, but not out in the open. It's just something that I've never done, and I don't think I ever will do. But I think now younger lads, they are. It's more, I don't know. They think they've got more power than they have. Should I say?
I think
they're better than they are.
Yeah, definitely.
If you look at the teams that are the top teams, and you think about the managers, you think, well, I'll bet he doesn't take any lip. And you think Klopp, Guardiola, they're not going to get people answering them back, are they?
No, exactly.
And that's why they're successful.
Yeah, well, it's the recent thing, isn't it, with Pep Guardiola? He dropped Foden and Grealish out of the squad because they went out. They went out for a meal or something, didn't they? I can't remember exactly what it was, but it's right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Especially when you're getting paid X amount of money, you've got to abide by them rules. It's a completely different ball game. It's a completely different.
You haven't got a cat, have you, Will?
I was going to say, it appears that you can pick a cat and carry on playing.
Yeah, no, that's it's scandalous, really. Isn't it? It's,
Don't comment, Will.
Yeah, it's.
Well, do you have a boot sponsor?
No.
He's got a Books Advantage card.
No, I just, well, fortunate enough, I'd get my agent to just send me a couple of pairs at the start of the season. And when I was younger, I used to sort of, when I was at Swindon and stuff like that, you get like a voucher thing. I think it was like £300 for the year, and you can just get whatever you could get out of that. Obviously, back in the day, it was you could get 3-4 pairs of boots, but now you can get like one pair of boots off that. So yeah, they're a ridiculous amount. So, but yeah, no, I try to look after my boots because they are very expensive, very expensive.
They're like carpet slippers now, though, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
Yes, Brian.
Can I ask, Will? I mean, there must be some thoughts in the back of the club's mind, if you like. Football League could beckon. If that's the case, would the club go professional, and would that change the dynamic of the club? Do you think, or are you not even thinking about it?
Well, to be fair, I had the conversation with the chairman a couple of weeks back because I've said the academy they've got, they're obviously on site all the time. So it's basically like a college, well, a boys' college, and then a football team on the side as well. So, but he said he's got it all in place, ready to go if it does happen. Like they won't have to change anything really. Because we train full time anyway. It would just be the contract would be slightly different. There's just legality things that would just differ really. But other than that, I don't think there'd be masses that would have to change because the ground itself as well. Arsenal women, that's their home ground, so the pitch it's exactly the same as Emirates. So the pitch is very good and things like that. Obviously, because they had to change something the other day. You had to build. I think it's silly. It was something like an extra 6 inches around the pitch, of like from the pitch to the barrier. So we had to put everything out 6 inches because of UEFA, because the women play in the Champions League. So it was just like there was so many silly regulations which to be fair, so if we ever did if Boreham Wood ever made it to the Champions League, I think they'd qualify to play. I don't think that'll ever happen. So
Well done. Well done.
It could be the Cup Winners' Cup.
Aye, could be.
Yeah, well, some clubs don't actually do the pitch extensions. Liverpool is one of them. Liverpool pay a fine, if you like, of about £30,000 each year.
yes.
And I think United, when we got into the Premiership, we paid an excess amount because we couldn't extend it exactly how they wanted it at that point.
Yeah. That just shows how much money's in football.
Yeah.
So from Swindon, what happened then on from Swindon?
Well, Paolo Di Canio came in a couple of years, so in my second year. And he basically just brought in so many players. I think he literally signed about 30 players, and it was I just had no chance. Like he basically, anyone who was already signed, he basically just dismissed and stuff like that. So I went out on loan to Hereford in, I think it was about November time. And then in the January, I spoke to my agent and they said that they wanted to sign me up for next year. And I was doing okay. To be fair, this is the one thing I think I regret in my career. It's not a massive regret, but I feel like if I had been a free agent in that summer, I probably could have kicked on further because I was playing in midfield at the time, central midfield. I think I scored 8 goals from January to the end of the season. And I was doing quite well, but I'd already signed a contract with Hereford in the January, which took me into the season after. But we got relegated into the National League. And then a new manager came in. But unfortunately for me, I was one of the lads. There was only, I think there was about 4 or 5 of us on the Football League contracts. So the new manager basically came in and wanted to get rid of us because the club was saying they can't afford it and stuff like that. So it was a bit unfortunate timing from my point of view. But I played a few games. I played, I don't know, probably 15 games. And then in the January, I went to Newport, who were top of the league. So I didn't do too badly, and they got promoted to League Two. But I went there basically as like they had a lad injured, and I went there as a backup sort of thing. So, but then he came back from injury and stuff. So I was just like on the bench and stuff. So nothing really happened there after that. But then I moved on to Eastleigh, a manager that I knew when I was at Swindon. He came in and coached for about 6 months. They were in the Conference South at the time, but they had a chairman who was really ambitious. He's actually just sold. He was the one. I don't know if you've seen that Netflix, The Sunderland Till I Die. Is it? Anyone seen that?
Yeah.
He was the one who bought it at Stuart Donald. So he was the owner at Eastleigh at the time. Very wealthy man, and he was putting a lot of money into it. So he sort of, in a way, bought all the best players in the National League to try and get out of the Conference South, which we ended up doing, I think, 8 games to go. So we sort of won it quite pleasingly. And had a very good trip to Las Vegas, which was all good as well. So so I'd spent another 2 years at Eastleigh, which we got to the playoffs both times and lost in the playoffs both times. And then I moved on to Aldershot for 2 years. Again, playoffs both years, lost in the playoffs both years. it's not a great theme for me. And then I went to Chesterfield, and then 3 years at Chesterfield, and I went there with obviously big ambitions, the big club. Experienced manager in Martin Allen, who brought me in. He was doing what everyone sort of thought was the right thing. He was buying players from the National League who knew the league, because they just got relegated and stuff from League Two, and it's a completely different situation. Like, instead of going to bigger clubs, you're going to like small clubs on a Tuesday night and stuff, and it is a completely different mindset to the Football League, and you don't get obviously as much publicity and stuff like that. So it is a completely different mind game to players, attitude and stuff like that at this level. So a lot of people, if they haven't played in it before, it's quite hard for them to adjust. So he was doing everything right. Martin Allen is signing players that have played at this level, but unfortunately it just didn't work. I think there was more to it rather than just the players not very good. I think it was a whole structural thing from the club, from top to bottom. It just wasn't great. And well, obviously now, if you look at them now, they've got new owners and things like that, which I got the start of it, which last year they took over in my last year. We got to the playoffs in that year. So I think that's the big thing. I think I've spoke to Chris about it a few times. Like, obviously at Sheffield United at the moment, there's a few things going on or whatever. And I think when people don't look at it as in it's the bigger picture as such, obviously the players get the most stick because they're the ones in your eye line playing and performing on a Saturday. But sometimes there is a lot more to it than just not performing on the pitch.
Yeah.
Well, your playoff record is about as good as Sheffield United's.
I know, honestly,
It's absolutely dreadful. Put it right. Come on, get it right.
I just need to go up automatically. That's fine. I just need to go up automatically. Then that's
win the league.
Yeah, correct. Avoid.
Just to let you know, Sheffield United have actually got the worst playoff record of any club.
Really?
Yes. 9 times we've been in them.
They've probably seen mine and never thought, we're not signing him as well. That'd be
Will, what is it like playing I mean, you played at so many different clubs, and one or two of them on loan. What is it like going out to a new club, and particularly to one where you're only going to be there for a short time, and or relatively short time?
Yes, it's well, obviously my first one, Hereford. I remember it clear as day. I was actually at my mum and dad's. I was in the garden, and my manager, my youth team manager at the time, so he was the youth team manager. He was friends with the Hereford manager. So, but I knew him obviously. He was still the youth team manager at Swindon and he rang me and he said, Hereford want to take you on loan. So I was like, okay, like perfect. I wasn't obviously anywhere near the first team. Obviously, you want to play games. So I was like, perfect. So I went there, drove there, and luckily enough, I actually knew a lad that was there. So it breaks the ice straight away. Yeah. And that's the beauty with football, because you do move around quite a lot. You more than likely, one person in the change room already, or someone who knows someone quite well. Do you know what I mean? So there's always mutual friends and mutual people and stuff, and you play against them quite often. So, but I think the first one was probably the hardest because it was so new to me, and I'd been at Swindon since I was 6 years old, and I went to Hereford. I think I was 19, 20, something like that. So it was a completely new experience for me, going to a completely different club. Obviously, it runs completely different to your own and everything like that. So it's a strange feeling, but you just adapt to it quite quickly. So.
Where do you live? I mean, where did you live when you went to Hereford? Did you live in clubhouses or?
No, to be fair, I lived at home because it was. I think it was about 45 minutes.
I see. Yes, of course, it wasn't very far.
So I was still at my parents'. So, but yeah, it was because I was on loan as well. You can claim expenses, so I wasn't paying for any fuel and stuff like that. So it was perfect.
Was your family at Bournemouth?
Yeah, most of them. Funny enough, obviously my partner up here, she couldn't come down because it was just logistically not possible. But then the only other person who didn't go was my dad. He was. He goes, "It's too late. It's too late on a Sunday for me." I was like, "What do you mean?" But no, yeah, I don't. To be honest with you, I don't know why. I think yeah, it was funny. But yeah, no, I've got a good photo someone sent me the other day, literally straight after the game. My youngest brother is right at the front of the crowd, and he's there and he's giving me a big hug and stuff. And it's a really good moment. The photo was really nice, captured it really well. But yeah, I had cousins and aunties and a lot of family. Parents, my mum went, my two brothers. Yeah, so it was good.
Do you know how many tickets you can have for the Everton game yet?
Well, I think. Well, to be fair, I can order a few, but I think Boreham Wood. I think it was just under 2,000 they're allowed.
No, I mean,
thinking of booking a minibus, Keith.
Yeah. Other players allowed so many tickets each.
Well, yeah. So the club have like phased it out, but we've been able to just say like, oh, we need X amount. So I think one other lad, he's actually an Everton supporter. I think at the moment he's asked for 60.
Oh,
That's a touch greedy.
Yeah.
Who are they going? Who are his supporters going to shout for then?
But no, yeah.
Oh.
It's all right, to be fair. Like we normally do get a couple of free tickets as well, but I don't know why they haven't done it this year. They've been a bit tight. I don't know whether the club have keeping them and putting them to the side, but no, we've had to buy them as well, so which is a bit tight.
Yeah.
Have you got a midweek game before the Everton game?
We've got a Saturday game. We've got to play on a Saturday. I can't remember who it is now. And then luckily it's on the Thursday, so we'll have a few days preparation before.
Nobody's going to admit to it, but one or two people might think, I don't want to get injured for this.
Yeah. Well, even the Bournemouth game, we had a game. The game before, I think we had 4 players on 4 bookings. So if you get booked, it's the next game. So, but yeah, and in my case, I think I would have missed 3 games because I've been sent off twice. So, I was literally staying away from everyone.
Yeah.
Well, do you support any particular club? You've played for a lot, but are you a follower of one club?
Well, obviously, Swindon obviously were my first club. My dad went and supported them as a kid as well. So that's sort of like my hometown club, if that makes sense. Like Forest Green, because I'm in like the middle of Forest Green and Swindon, really. So, and obviously they're doing well now. So, and with their quirky ways, shall I say? But yeah, so they're the two. But I'd say Swindon's the main one. And then my dad also, he supported Tottenham as a kid as well. So, they're Swindon and Tottenham really the only two that I sort of really look out for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, the first 2 results you look for.
Yeah.
And
at the moment, it's Chesterfield and Stockport.
And Sheffield United, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know if I can speak to Chris or not.
How did you choose Retford to buy a house?
To be honest, well, I just put the postcode on Rightmove of the Chesterfield's ground, and I did a 30-mile radius of Chesterfield, and was just scrolling of houses, and then I think I looked at I probably looked at I went and viewed probably about 25 houses. And then, yeah, fortunately we found this one. And it was just perfect, really. It was just, yeah, exactly what we
Not from the neighbours.
And then you met Chris. Yeah.
The noisy neighbours. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get a reduction in your council tax for that.
Yeah, 'cause I was born in Retford, lived in Retford until I was 18, and moved south, trying to spread the gospel, but they still don't listen. I have a 2.5 hour journey each way to go and watch Sheffield United now for the benefits of it. So it does blow you up next day, as you say, from some of your travelling.
Yeah.
Will, anyone hold up a sign saying, "Can I have your shirt?" Will?
Has anyone done it? No.
No.
Not for me, I don't think. I don't get many things like that. No, I don't think I've even had a song.
We'll write you one.
We'll come up with one.
We'll write a song.
Will you play one of your former clubs on the Saturday before the Everton game? I've just looked at it. Eastleigh.
Oh, yeah, Eastleigh, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, you take on Eastleigh, who, of course, you beat in the FA Cup a long time ago in this run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
quite a good occasion.
Not conceding a goal is amazing, isn't it? After all these games.
Yeah, it's actually, to be fair, it's one of them, it hasn't really been spoken about either that much. Like, to go 5 rounds or 5 games without conceding a goal, and like, 3 of the games, so our first game was Barnet away, which is a local derby, and then I think we played
Good goal, Will, on that night. Yeah. Just remind, don't be modest. You did kick the FA Cup off with a winning goal
there. And then I played Eastleigh. They came to us, which obviously they're a good team in the National League. And then we played St Albans at home, which is another local derby. A lot of rivalry there between the chairman as well and the owners of St Albans and stuff. So, like everyone knows, local derbies, anything can happen. So to go through all those, and we played Wimbledon as well. To go through all those without conceding a goal it's incredible, really. It's a great achievement. I think we're the only ever. Well, I was saying to Chris, I think the other day, I think there's 7 teams that have ever done it since it started, to go their first 5 games. So obviously,
I don't think there's any non-league clubs in that.
No, we're the only non-league team to do it. So
you must have a decent centre half or something.
Did Calvert-Lewin it next round?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough task.
So, well, just remember what Lincoln did. Lincoln did it, and they won at Burnley, if I remember.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember that well.
You can do it.
You can do it. Definitely do it.
We'll all be willing you on.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. We will indeed.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, the manager said it before the Bournemouth game, it's 11 players versus 11 players at the end of the day.
And they've only got 2 feet each, same as you.
Yeah. So anything can happen. But obviously it's going to be a massive ask. But like you said, anything can happen, and I think we just go there and just enjoy the occasion.
Enjoy
it.
Yeah.
The biggest thing on that game with Bournemouth was this in here. Boreham Wood had a lot bigger heart.
Yeah,
they thought it would be.
I mean,
and
that's what I said. Like where we are. Everything we do, like even in the league, no one mentions us about go and get promoted. No one ever. It's all Stockport, Chesterfield, Notts County, or Wrexham. No one ever mentions Boreham Wood. They just don't expect us to do well. So, and I think we thrive off that. To be honest, we just go about our business and just carry on as our day-to-day business, and we're picking up points, picking up results. So
I think you've probably picked up a few new supporters today too.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So
without a doubt.
don't forget Everton's goalkeeper's a bit rubbish. So just from anywhere.
He is actually. Yeah. Very vulnerable.
He can be.
He's got a get.
Yeah. Just rough him up a bit at corners. Well.
To be fair, I was saying this to when we was driving in, me and Scotty, we were saying, like, you think the Bournemouth players were getting frustrated with us. So the Everton players, obviously they're Premier League players, and if they're getting frustrated, if we play like we did against Bournemouth and we start frustrating them, they're going to get frustrated 10 times worse, because they're going to they're going to expect to be 10 times better than us. So so I think we've just got to play on that as well. We've just got to try and ruffle feathers and hope for the best, really. So,
the Everton crowd aren't too forgiving either.
No, exactly. No. So that's, well, you do that at an away game. You try and, especially big away games, you say try and quiet the crowd and turn them against their own fans. So hopefully, and they've got, I think I looked at their fixtures. They've got, I think, Man City the game before, and then they've got Tottenham the game after. So they've got a few big games to focus on as well. So hopefully.
And possible relegation as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they've got bigger things to worry about.
Let's hope we underestimate you.
Yeah, exactly. So,
well, we just over a minute left. On behalf of everybody, I think, thank you for coming.
Tremendous.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really great of you to come, Will. Yeah, well done.
Fabulous. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Will. Good luck tonight, mate. Good luck tonight.
Yeah.
And we'll all be there supporting.
Yeah,
the Wood.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I've enjoyed coming on. I was saying Christmas morning. It was about 2 years ago, wasn't it? Before.
Yeah. We'll see you again before next round.
You'll have to before Wembley.
Yeah.
You need to play at Wembley, Will.
I know I do need to play at Wembley. That's one place I haven't played for.
You do need to get there, mate.
Yeah.
Who do you fancy in the next round?
Oh, well. I just think if the unbelievable happens and you get through, I think you just got to stay away from Man City. Stay away from them.
Yeah, it'd be great to play it.
Be a nice problem.
Man City.
Yeah.
Save them for the final.
Yeah, good
luck.
Good luck, mate.
Good luck, mate. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thanks ever so much.
Thank you.
Cheerio, everyone.
Thank you very much. Thank you. See you later.
Well.
Fabulous.
Bye-bye.